All right. Welcome, folks. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics. We're restarting IronVerse Comics interviews. It's gone by a couple other names and only done a few on this channel, but I'm excited to start it back up again. There's so many wonderful creators in the indie comic sphere who, need some voices out there, and just I love talking about the work. And today we have an excellent creator. I'm going to be calling him Clay throughout this, but there's other names. You may know him as Claylex on, I believe, Twitch and on Twitter, but I know him more for his work on the series Clayman, which he's been doing for a little while, and I was excited to do a reread today in preparation of this interview. How are you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Excellent. Love hearing it. It looks like our levels are okay, but I do want to ask our wonderful audience if they'd let us know if either his levels are too low or mine are too high or vice versa. Um, be a big help for me since I can't really hear that end. I can hear him through my headphone speakers, but I don't know how it's coming through OBS. Only you folks have that power to let me know. So I'd love it if you'd exercise it. Anywho, tell us a little about what got you into comics and what inspires you to continue working on it.
Man, that's a good question. I
Yeah.
started when I was a kid. I think my first comics were like Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk, and then I kind of like after that I kind of like dropped it for a while, and then back in October 2018, I actually the first ever comic that got me back was actually your comic. No joke.
I've been so surprised. There was such a I don't call it. It's there was an indie comics kind of I might use a big word that's not
Yeah, take your
completely
time. Take your
accurate, but
time.
renaissance.
Yeah,
I didn't want to use that word because it's a little arrogant, but there was a revitalization of creative energy in 2018, starting at the beginning and kind of continuing through that year. And I was so lucky just to have really been put in a position that forced me to make something happen that year or be doing something completely different with myself. And damn, is it humbling to hear when that little bit of work and that luck that I was given kind of helps help
yeah.
lubricate some people's entry into this very crazy medium. And oh well, that's right on. I love hearing that.
Yeah, yeah. Considering, I literally made like a whole bunch of fan art with Jack Irons in it with Clayman.
Yeah, I love me some Dimensional Warriors pieces.
Yeah,
Huge fan here at IronVerse Comics of fan art. I've collected every piece, and we're about at 200 pieces now. And I hope that continues to show that we got something good going on. We got something good going on. But we're not here
yeah,
about IronVerse Comics. So you were inspired by our work with Jack, and I love hearing that. So
hmm
what about it and such that got you going? Was it the energy? Was it the let me know what sparked you to start with Clayman?
I think it was. If I had to say, it was probably the innovation behind it. You guys don't have like a multi-billion-dollar company behind you. You just got your grit, your wits, and a little bit of pocket change in, your pockets and your wallets. And you're like, yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter. We'll still make this comic happen. And people was all for that. And then the indie go-go started, and then it was like, oh yeah, this is excellent.
Right on. Well, I'd like to thank Al Nickerson, um, Itchy Five, and the Flock Comic for showing up. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm glad to hear the audio is total excellence. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's
it's fine.
total excellence, but I'm glad to hear it's good enough. I'll take good enough on this ramshackle channel. I certainly will. Um, with that, let's see here. I checked out your work against. Let me throw a link in chat for folks unfamiliar with
Yeah,
Clayman.
that's so fun.
He's got a one shot out on Tapas that I read again today and had a lot of fun with.
The Tapas.
Yeah, the the very interesting web publisher. There, let's see here. Boom. That link will take you to the one shot. It's a lot of fun. I'd say what I take away is, like you're saying, you were influenced by Spider-Man and Hulk in the
Yeah,
early bits, and it's got that fun, more kid-friendly superhero vibe to it, which of course I don't
yeah.
do. I'm terrible at it. I'm very
Which, yeah,
nitty-gritty, depressing, and gore, but I can appreciate me a good, wholesome superhero comic, and that looks like
I
what you're
know.
trying to do with Clay.
Yeah, yeah,
Would
and
you?
it's like to me in this day and age, it's like it's actually starting to dry up. To be honest, the whole wholesome superhero content. I'm like,
Mhm.
it's like yeah. So I'm like, I get mine out, and then there's a few other a few of my friends are doing the same thing too. So I'm like, we're refilling the well back up. One step at a time.
Yeah, we're really I agree that I think we're really missing the mark as an industry on leaving kids behind. We focused very hard on the collectors and sometimes on the readers. I would say it goes collectors, then readers, which is kind of depressing.
Hmm.
And in fact, I think it goes creators, then collectors, then readers. That these books are kind of being made for. And though I kind of believe most every comic fan has an idea or wants to be a creator, so I always try to approach any of my marketing or any of my interactions with the fan base on that assumption because comics is full of incredible passion. Not every film fan wants to make movies, but I would
Yeah,
say
exactly.
nearly every comic fan wants to make a comic, and that is crazy to me, and I adore it. And that's why I want to do more of these interviews and such, is to get this out here. But explain Clayman. Who is Clayman? What's he about? And why should we read Clayman as it continues forward?
Yeah, so let's see. Clayman is a futuristic superhero comic book. Is a story. It takes place about 100 years in our time, around the year 2118, and follows the story of a 16-year-old kid named Bobby Rob Radish, who, through inexplicable means, gains mutant abilities and uses that to protect his city. The city in funny enough, I just chose a random state to put it in the United States, so I chose Wisconsin. But I did make the city itself um fictional, so I just called it Fatorica, Wisconsin.
I
So
like it.
he's a Wisconsin boy.
Right on. Gotta
Yeah,
have the cheese capital of the states represented, man.
yeah,
I'm totally with you.
yeah.
And again, that's that wholesome down home. You know how Marvel wanted to and continues to want to present the world outside your window. Well, a grounded location like that helps a lot. But then you also added the DC bit of it, where I can play with this world. It's 100 years in the future. This is a new city, a different
I
city.
know. Yeah,
I
yeah.
like the breathing room that you've allowed yourself by taking both approaches, basically.
Yeah. Mutt asks, like, is this an all ages comic? I'm trying to make it an all ages comic. Like, most likely, I think like originally it was going to be mature, like very very mature. But I was like, it doesn't really fit Clay, so I'm just gonna make it more maybe like kids and teens will enjoy it, adults too. But another one that got inspired to me, My Hero Academia definitely inspired me for Clayman. So like if you guys ever read or watch the anime, that'll definitely take some hits from that.
Excellent. Well, that's a pretty good watermark to start off with, because basically what I got out of My Hero, when I haven't read it as much, and I love manga pacing. It's perfect for me. It's a
Yeah,
you
yeah,
soar
it
right
is.
through it, and either it's developing something or it's doing what manga tends to do, which is buying time. But it's quick either way, and I really appreciate that kind of approach and focus. And with My Hero, they kind of just took the X-Men formula and did it again. And they're like, well, this is what X-Men used to kind of do, so we're going to go ahead and do that, but our way. And I love seeing that. I was a big fan of it, of the anime anyway. I didn't jump on the manga. I read a lot of manga. Surprisingly, I just started Black Clover, which has been a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
no.
And of course, I burnt through Dragon Ball not too long ago. Trigun, Gunwitch Kirihime is one of the more obscure ones I've read. But My Hero's art style is also very cool. It's unique for anime. Not it doesn't look the same as every other book that's out, which I also really appreciated. So and that is also by Japan standards all ages. So I'm pretty I'm stoked to hear that influence in this as it continues moving forward.
Yeah.
Itchy says he'll give Clayman the McFarlane flair. Oh, I like
Yeah,
that.
he definitely did the, like, you know, that cover that everyone likes to do with Spider-Man or Spawn, whatever. Yeah, that's basically what he did with Clayman. Like what yeah.
No, excellent. I think it's the 300 cover that's like iconic.
Yeah, everyone likes to use that cover. It's like, I think it's okay, but I try to be more creative than that if I got to choose it personally.
Well, I get it. Well, there's a lot of, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're also doing something more. Um,
Yeah,
we uh, we haven't done too many homages. Every time I've tried to do an homage, the artist is like, "But I want to do this," and it's the same idea. It's just done their way, so almost so much so you can't tell it's an homage. We did an homage to Hex #1 as a pinup with our first campaign, and I don't think anybody caught it. and
yeah.
Which is fine with me. I like that. It was by Von Klaus of Monster MD. He actually did the line art. Believe it or not, this was before Monster MD.
Nice.
And Narwhal of Earthbound did the colors on that pinup, and it's a wonderful pinup. I hope to get it out more through this campaign. But anyway, homage. A group that's really good at homaging is the Rags team. They've got a whole
Oh
angle
yeah.
with it with cosplay. It was a genius to make a virtual cosplayer for that. I think that was just a. But they're also focusing on an adult, primarily military audience, and it's a lot of cheesecake as well. So the cosplaying kind of fits it. It was very smart for what they're trying to do. Won't work for everybody, but there's a wide spectrum, and I appreciate a good homage. And of course, I get kind of bored with a bad one. Like you see too many, as we were saying, Amazing Spider-Man #300s. It's kind of been done to death, but it's almost at that point where doing it more is kind of just it's not making it worse. I think it's hit its
Yeah.
level where it's going to be what it's going to be forever. And but
Yeah.
that's neat. We were talking about Itchy here. Do you want to talk about your creative team and how it's been diving into comics and learning how to create and get something out there?
Yeah, it's like the one shot is basically my first ever time working with a whole entire team. I have like an editor, an artist, and a letterer, and like for the most of it, we've been working like so freaking well. Um, Considering like aside from like me having to remake some of the pages and the lettering and all that, like yeah, we've all like agreed on we're gonna do this and then we're gonna do that, you know.
Excellent. No, what I found in my experience, and I think it's every creative team's experience in one form or another, is the patter, the camaraderie of creation is very very important in comics, and that's
Yeah.
I think we kind of feel that divide in mainstream comics where editorial isn't being a unifying factor. It tends to just throw things together and hope that the writer and the artist have some kind of natural pattern. Some have teams that they work with again and again, like Donny Cates and Stegman work quite a
Yeah.
bit together, and you'll get some
Yeah.
people who are like that, but you'll get a lot who just kind of get put on a book, particularly artists just get put on this book because they'll sell or whatever, and then they're left interpreting somebody's message that they may not directly resonate with, and so you get this natural divide in the book. And I've been very lucky with our team to have this very tight connection on what the book needs to be. And I hope all creators can eventually find that path. And I certainly hope you found a version of it. I'm glad to see your artist is here right now. That's a good sign. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
I love seeing new folks to the channel, by the way. If you haven't, sub. Be much appreciated if you would share as well. Would help. I'm trying to work a little bit harder on leveraging the blessings I've been given by our fans and our little community, and trying to make something bigger out of it that more people can take advantage of. And I'm just thank you for being here, Clay, and thank you folks
Yeah.
for being here. I'm very appreciative. So Mutt did ask, and you answered, but let's dive into that a
Yeah.
little bit. What Clayman's powers? We see in this one shot, he has super strength. That
Yeah.
much isn't too much of a spoiler, I would assume. But is that his only and primary power, or?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's like he's got if we're just going strictly on we're going strictly on the powers, like he's got the superhuman physical attributes, and he can, like I said, he can alter his body a bit, but more like going from the human and then to the mutant parts of him. But yeah, it's like for now, those are mainly his two main superpowers in it. He might have more, but I don't want to spoil, obviously.
There you go. Well, that's exactly. I mean, for me, in the first couple issues of Jack, you don't really see him have a power, and even if you do kind of see what the idea is, it's still some drunk cowboy at a bar just talking. You can't really be
And
sure if it's legitimate. Issue 3, we call that. Well, we don't. I mean, it's still just a dude at a bar talking, but he takes it to that
mhm.
next level of, well, this is something implausible that's also happening. And I hope that lands myself. We'll see soon enough. I'm pretty excited for that. But on Clayman's design, what made you choose red and white, and how did his design come to be? Maxie, and I, we went through a couple versions. I originally drew a cruddy little sketch, and then we found the right person, and we worked out kind of how best to draw him. And he's been evolving each issue to better fit the narrative and to better fit what Maxie's style is kind of growing to. I'm curious if you went through a few versions of Clay, or if you went straight into this version, and does the costume have a greater meaning on the color choices? Any of that?
I think by all accounts, the coloring is like not exactly um in it that okay in it for it was more for myself that I chose it, that I was like I wanted to get more obviously more brighter oriented coloring. But I think like at one time I did think I wanted to put black in the costume. I'm like, nah, it just doesn't work. Even if I did black lines, I just don't think it would work. So I just did solely red and white for it. The cost, but yeah, like the costume itself, like I took once again I took some ideas from My Hero Academia. Some people said I took it from maybe a little bit of Deadpool and Spider-Man and the Max even. I'm like definitely the Max for the smile at
Oh,
least.
yeah.
Yeah, for the first one. And
Excellent.
yeah. And yeah, it's like the first. It's like, unfortunately, though, I think everyone likes the hooded costume over the new costume, and I'm like, it's fine. I understand. It's a very very good costume.
Okay, so
You
there's
know,
been some design changes. I do remember the hooded. Was that the first?
yeah, the hooded will be in there. That's technically, yeah. Originally, that was not the first design.
Okay.
The second design was technically the birth of the hooded costume, and then like after a few revisions, like the first costume that I got for the first design of Clay became the second costume that he's going to wear in the series.
Okay. Well, right on. Oh,
Yeah,
well, I'm curious now. Um,
yeah, go.
about this world here. I notice you have a penchant for anthropomorphic animals, at least in this
Yeah. Oh
issue,
man,
and a
yeah.
few others. Uh, and I'm curious, how does that work? How did that come to be, or is that something you're revealing through the series that you want to keep closer to your chest?
I think like so far that I've written is that like I definitely would like to do that at least in an issue that they explain that is like some kind of like not exactly a cosmic storm but some kind of event caused animals and plants to evolve at an accelerated rate. Robots that kind of just evolved in their own right thanks to humanity.
Okay. Okay. Well, excellent. I'm very curious to see how that keeps going because I mean every comic universe, every world ends up usually, especially if you're on the superhero spectrum, you end up getting animalistic attributes and heroes and villains, if not full on anthropomorphized versions like Cheetah. And yeah, that's badass. It's a classic old trope I really appreciate. I mean, we've been doing that in folklore since we saw animals and we're talking to each other.
Yeah,
So I always appreciate that very traditional, very classic, very deep to the storytelling roots of humanity thing. Because you look at a cheetah, you know she's going to be fast and going to be dangerous. You look at a hyena in this case, and you know she's going to be a little bit. Uh, what would be the word?
tricky.
There you go. That'll work. Yeah, tricky. She's gonna be tricky, a little suspicious, a little bit of a jerk. Honestly, hyenas are jerks.
Yeah,
And so, if you communicate that in the design of something so easily, I appreciate that very much. Especially for younger readers. That's a big one. You don't get too lost in trying to tell somebody instead of just showing them, and those kind of designs are great at that. Let's
yeah.
see. Muttman, again, thank you for coming, folks. He says the Clayman design is really cool. Reminds me of a cross between Grendel and Spider-Man. I definitely get the
Like,
Spider-Man vibe. I don't know
uh,
Grendel well enough.
what? Yeah, I was gonna say not definitely Grendel from Beowulf, the other Grendel, right? Like
Yeah,
the
comic Grendel would be.
superhero.
Yeah, I know the name. I don't know the
Oh
character.
yeah, Grendel. Yeah, Grendel, the DC character.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Clayman's design is literally the best character I've seen in the indie scene. I've heard a lot of people keep saying that
It's a cool
like why isn't
design.
this more popular? And I'm like, I'm trying to get it more popular.
That's how it goes. No, it's a wonderful design. It's very classic superhero, but it's new. It doesn't feel like treaded water. It's not overdone. It's again. That's why I was curious about the design, how that evolved, because it's a very simple but very powerful design. It says a lot about the character by looking at it, which is super important. And nailing that's excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like I tried to keep it. Yeah, and don't forget too that it's in the future, so simplistic superhero costume designs are okay because, like, they use fabrics and materials and all that. Be like, you don't have to overcomplicate it. It's the future. I mean, look at Batman Beyond. You expect something
Yeah.
more. You expect something more complex, but it's very simple in how his design works. Other than like when you see in the modern Batman's one with Bruce Wayne, his futuristic costumes are more metallic and very very complicated in his design.
Yeah, and I think again that's that gap we were talking about earlier between age groups. Younger groups tend to identify a little bit better with more simplistic designs, in my opinion. In the '90s, they were appealing again to the collectors, and so they made these big, outrageous, eye-catching, thousand pouch, big
Yeah,
muscled designs, so
Rob
that somebody
Liefeld
looking at the
design.
shelf will say, "Oh, that'll be worth money later." And so I got kind of sick of that. Now Jack has been rendered in all kinds of different styles. Some are that
Yeah,
'90s big buff, a little too detailed on the metal kind of look, but then Maxie does more of a Mike Mignola, James Herron kind of light line work and lets most of the design kind of speak from the gruffness and the very low detail but very solemn face. And so I like all those designs, and I think they can be done very well. But I am glad to see more accessible designs, comics, characters, and in particular creators than we've seen for a little while. Um, and thank you again for being here and for taking part in
Yeah.
that. We need more people doing that, and I've
Yeah.
written lower kids, not lower.
Yeah.
Oh God, what would be the word? Well, I've
Um.
written kids material before, and
Yeah.
it's not my portray. It's not what I don't feel I could do what you're doing. Is the main point I'm
Yeah.
trying to get
I
across,
gotcha.
because it's a different world. It's a very different world. It's the same job, same gig, but it's a very different take on it. And for instance, I never really had a massive interest in quote unquote cape books. I never really have. Batman, I liked him because he's a detective. Uh, Ghost Rider wasn't really a cape book. It was a biker book and a horror book.
Yeah.
Punisher ain't a cape
Supernatural
book. It's a
horror.
serial killer book. So,
Basically, it
yeah.
basically, or yeah, an anti-hero book, basically. And then you understand that anti-heroes most of the time they're gonna kill the bad guys. So
Yeah, I started in Max Punisher as well, so he was a serial killer who tortured his victims. But
yeah,
in the very non-emotional Frank Castle way, of course. But still, so I my connection to comics was from those edgier characters, whereas my initial connection to the genre, to the IPs, were animated series, the Justice League animated series, Spider-Man animated series, Batman animated series, when I was a kid. And those vibes are very important to have out there. That's why they're still held up as this big high watermark of quality of getting these IPs out there close to the comics, and with love for the IP. And we're not seeing that as much these days. And again, super stoked that niche is being championed. Um, Love it. Let's check chat again. And of course, if you guys have any questions in chat, please let us know. Um, I'd appreciate it. I'm sure Clay doesn't mind answering at all. And
yeah. Any questions anyone got? Yeah, I'll answer them as best I can.
let's see. Al Nickerson loves the costumes. Says nice job. I
Oh,
do too.
yeah, like the everyone. I swear, yeah. Like Morning Bee says, I like the police dog. Yeah, Chief Rover was probably one of the most well accepted design characters out there. Like they love this guy, and I'm like, I'm surprised. Yeah, like I was surprised because he's such a good, cool looking character.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't believe I have anything I could pull up directly that references the character, but I remember seeing it. It's a very classic, again, anthropomorphized design, but it was beautifully rendered. I love the line work. And
Yeah,
again,
and
somebody was commenting on the inking and was curious if it was traditional or digital. You said it was digital,
yeah, as
and
far as
that's
I know, it's digital.
all right. Well, I mean that's so much cheaper. That's the one thing is Maxi's been saddled with about almost
Yeah, yeah,
100
because
pages of Jack Irons artwork.
he
That
does it on paper.
yeah, yeah, with traditional inks, and so that costs the papers cost money, the inks cost money. So that all comes out of his his cut and doing business, and that's not necessary, but it gives a different vibe to the work, and it's what he's comfortable with. He does some digital fixing, and I think he'll do some line work in digital that he didn't want to do back on the page, which kind of makes the pages more unique. But yeah, it's we're definitely going to see more and more digital becoming the primary way to render it, I believe. Back in, when convention circuits were working, people loved the traditional because then you can sell it at a convention, give it to an art auction. You can do all kinds of things to make that extra bit of cash. And it's harder to do that this year. I hope that changes next year. I had to miss my first time I was going to be selling comics at a con this month, in fact, due to all this craziness. And that was a big part. I saw a lot of professional artists struggling because they can't hit that con circuit and make those connections, make the sales, do those commissions, and sell the pages. And so I think more people are going to be maybe taking a cut on the page rate, or not be take a raise on the page rate because they'll no longer have the traditional art to sell. But that's just a guess in the future. I have no idea. But back to Clay, you did another piece with the wonderful. Oh gosh. The character is Demon Hunter Raven. If
Yeah.
you could help me with the name of the creator, let me see if it's right here. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom.
his name is
Nicholas Moeller. There we
yeah,
go.
Nicholas Moore.
Let me go ahead and drop the link to this also in chat. This was a fun
Yeah.
read too. I was
This
very
was
stoked.
like yeah.
Go
Yeah, and
ahead.
there's my real name on there. But anyways, God, like I was so shocked how fast we just like sparked a friendship, me and Nick over this. He saw and I'm like, we gotta work together one day, and I'm like, who are you? And I was like, okay,
Love it.
yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, not being able to attend and New York Comic Con, yeah, that sucks. Like LA Comic Con is still happening. I'm still kind of mad at that because we're still in quarantine here.
Yeah, I have no idea how it's going to go. And most creators probably, even if they have the offer, unless they are struggling, which a lot of them are, they're
Yeah,
probably not going
right
to
now
show
they are.
anyway. So it's
Yeah,
a tough choice, and it's a position they shouldn't be forced into. But these days, a lot of people are doing things they don't want to because it's how you got to move forward. So yeah, but that's interesting. I didn't know LA was still happening. That's a trip and a half because I know most have been canceled until next year, and even next year is
yeah,
kind of touch and go at the moment. I think San Diego starts signups at the beginning of this year, so we'll see if they do that or if they wait a few months after the additional level of craziness that's going to happen in the next couple months. Um,
yeah,
but anywho, folks want to check this out. Demon Hunter Raven right now, I believe his issue 2 is on
yeah.
Kickstarter. I want to say, did he do it on Kickstarter or GoGo? I think it's
I
on.
think he. Let me check. Like, is
Oh,
his
right on. If you have it, cool.
hmm,
But
yeah.
it's
Oh
worth
yeah,
checking. He's another wonderful creator, and I think I know why he wanted to work with
Kickstarter.
you because these two Kickstarter. All right, check it out, Demon Hunter Raven, issue number
I'll
2 on
put,
Kickstarter. Yeah, if you throw the link, that'd be great.
yeah,
Um, uh, the character designs are great. The red and blue is always nice, but these two character designs, they both have that. He's got more of the ninja vibe to it, but again, it's that simple, accessible, obviously a superhero look that I really appreciate. I can see kind of why he wanted to put the two characters together and get you guys doing something.
yeah. It's like apparently, yeah, because Nick was like, and then when he colored it, he was like, oh my god, it's so good because their colors work so well together. Especially like the second panel that you see is like when Clay's talking with Raven, you can see how well their colors just work side
Hmm.
by side together. It's just really, really good. It's also funny. I want to mention that like it's Raccoon Appreciation Day, and Clay beats up a raccoon gang.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, how did the crossover happen in the first place? We just talked. That's it. We just talked. And it's like, you know what? Let's do a crossover together. I was like speechless when when I like he, and I'll be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It's like he didn't want any money off of it. I'm like, are you sure? Because I don't want to like feel like you get some compensation for it. And it's like, no, just you just write the script and you get your editor to edit it, and then I'll do all the work and be like, okay, if you want to.
No, that's kind of how it can go. Some people just want to create, and they're some of my favorite
Yeah,
people. But it's true. I've found a lot of people like to add to their portfolio because that's always smart to have more content to show in the future. People like. I've gotten plenty of crossover. I don't know, requests throughout Jack's only a couple years out there, and I have not followed through with any, mainly because Mainly because it's a tough thing to solidify for one, and for two, I've actually been requested, written the thing, and then nothing happens. So what I've ended up doing is just not entertaining them until Jack's got a foot in the door of who he is, what he's doing, and what we're trying to do, and we're very narrative focused at IronVerse Comics. We're building to a definitive end of a galaxy, so it doesn't have too much room. Even though Jack's character design and character can play well with many others and get a fun tale out of it, it muddies the waters. Now with Clay and Demon Hunter here, it works better in the superhero genre than say the weird Western science fiction fantasy genre,
Yeah.
because that's kind of what superheroes do. They end up crossing over. Now, one thing I noticed in this crossover is you guys skip that trope of, well, first they're going to meet and fight. So I was happy to see that. You guys just straight up, they like each other, they're hanging out, and I guess we got to deal with this. I
It,
like
it
that angle
always
a
it
lot.
always is like they just fight each other for some reason. I'm like, can't we just be friends, please?
Exactly. I love seeing that in here because no, it's true. It's always some kind of fight. Which the idea behind it, I would think, is that you've got these two popular fan bases, and comic fans, they love discussing what ifs and what could happen, and could
And
my
death
favorite
battles.
character beat your favorite character, and that's what the crossovers do, and they usually end up being a stalemate no matter what, and that's kind of like, well, then why did you do it? But it gets the sales, and it gets the attention, or got the sales, and did get attention. I think it's been a little overdone now, and I think now instead of single character crossovers, they tend to do events, and that's a whole
Yes.
nother egg that I don't want to crack right now.
Pandora's box.
Yeah, back in the day when it was one every decade, maybe that's pretty cool because I made a big deal out of it now. But anywho, um, definitely check this out, folks. It's a fun, quick read. That was one of the things I really appreciated is I wanted to catch up on these again earlier today, and I was just able to tear right through it, and I got a good idea of who all the characters were, what the world felt like, and I had a good time. And that's all you should
Yeah.
really want out of a comic. Anything above that is extra, and that's wonderful. And this has great designs, pretty art, and I'm excited to see what you come up with for the future. And on that note, what are the plans for the future? I know you have your Patreon here, which I'll also link and show.
Yeah,
This
I
is
have.
for your Twitch, and I'm assuming also works for your comics as well. Yeah.
Yeah, basically budget money to more money I get from that, the more I'll be able to afford, at least every once a month, I also do have Gumroad, so if you really like the Demon Hunter crossover one, you can buy my thing for like 99 cents. I wish I could put it for 50 cents, but Gumroad doesn't they only could do 99 cents at the lowest. And
Huh.
also too that like I've I only I have to get about $10, otherwise I cannot get any of the profits from it. So that's like
Yeah.
yeah, excluding the cuts that obviously Gumroad has to take. Yeah, it's gonna be a while before I make like bank on getting on the digital PDF for this crossover.
Got it, got it. But yeah, check out Claylex's here. On that note, so you're a streamer as well. Tell me about that a little bit and see if you can get a little bit more traction there as well. I try. Like right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
I'm trying.
go, yeah. Let's see. I'm usually a variety streamer, but I usually just stream Team Fortress 2 all day. That's because I'm just like that was like my go-to game if I don't have anything else to play.
Well, I mean, I enjoy myself a little bit of Team Fortress 2 here and there. I haven't
Yeah,
put in the crazy amount of time Medi got out of it. It's fun. I like character-based shooters quite a bit. Put a crap ton of time into Paladins because it was the free Overwatch, and then it went
yeah,
out of beta too early, and thing became a buggy mess where they just kept shoving more
yeah,
heroes, and so yeah, I haven't done that for a while. But I did start streaming again yesterday. I tried really hard to get Borderlands 3 to stream, and it wasn't working, even though I've done it before. So I don't know. Still tech issues on my end for gaming streams. But definitely check out Claylex. I'm assuming it's Claylex on Twitch. Just look up Claylex and
Yeah,
Twitch, and you'll find your channel or
yeah.
your. I guess it's still called a channel on Twitch. That's how on the ball I am about streaming. But check it out, folks. Every creator's trying their damnedest to find some niche, some way to continue pushing forward, and that's a great way too. If you enjoy that kind of content, I know a lot of people do. It's why it's such a big thing and why so many people do it. Even why I've tried it, and I think it can help. I really do. Um, and last here that I had open that you linked me to was the another piece of crossover art. So you've been doing crossover art for a while. In fact, let me see if I
Yeah,
can pull
technically,
up a couple
yeah.
of the wonderful commissions you did from back in the day
Sure.
for the
I
heck of
did
it.
yeah, I did. I'm still surprised we were able to get the Paragon Prime crossover art funded so quickly. That was literally like less than an hour, 2 hours we got it funded.
Oh,
And that was
excellent.
like, yeah, we were asking for almost like $300 for that. And we warned people that it was only an art piece, but they totally understood. And we got the money, we got that, and this will be a full-fledged art piece. Be more expensive, but it's gonna be, hopefully it's gonna be epic, hopefully. And if people ask like where's the money now, it's like it does automatically go into my bank, but don't worry, I'm saving it. So like I'm not gonna spend it. I'm not that kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean that's always a risk, and everybody who ends up being that kind of guy makes it that much harder for everybody else. So I appreciate hearing that. I certainly
Yeah.
that's the only way I get by. You break that trust, it's done. I've heard too many folks. The biggest case was Detective Dead.
Oh
That
my
was
god,
like
don't even get me started on
40K,
that one.
and it all went to other
I
crowdfunding
would
books,
have.
which is fine if it was also going to the book. But anywho, that was a whole thing. But you don't do that because it makes
I
everybody look
know.
bad, and it's tough. And in your case, I mean, you're just funding a piece. It's not like that piece cannot manifest with the money you're getting. You're not getting 40K. I mean, I could have made 4 Irons books for that price. So it always confuses the heck out of me that people don't when people make that mistake. Now, most creators I've seen do not make that mistake, which is wonderful. It's the exception, not the rule. So it makes it that much easier for people to dive in and take that risk. And that's what we need, not being big mainstream creators, not having a name built for us or built by us already. You need people's faith. It's the only way you'll
Yeah.
get anything done. And no, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. So here's a piece that you did. You commissioned our another wonderful comic I recommend people check out that just hit GoGo. The Unbreakable Iron Ranger. This is from Deputy Rust. Wonderful crossover with quite a few indie characters. The old Dimensional Warrior pieces. Um,
Yeah.
I just that was fun. That was a good way to connect with other creators and to kind of get some awareness on your character. And you know, it brightened my day. I love seeing fan art. And this is one of my favorites. Probably Russ has done 2 pieces of Jack, and this is by far the best one.
Yeah.
Anywho, so there's that. So Clay has a kind of a history working on these crossover pieces, and I like seeing that. Again, the indie community needs more camaraderie and a little bit less competition because at the end of the day, I think, again, we were talking about this, is that everybody wants to be a creator. So when they see creators kind of going at each other, it makes it that much harder to want to be part of it. And when you see unity, you see people having fun, creating cool works like this or like their own work and then sharing that or using their platform to boost, it just strengthens the bonds of the indie community that much more. And I think I said it earlier too, we have so much passion in this medium that really the sky's the limit if we can, get our hands off of each other's throats for a while and use it to build.
Yeah.
And then that's why I appreciated meeting you and being around in the indie sphere, and I appreciate your support, and I hope I've been returning it best I can.
Yeah.
And folks, check it out. This Clayman X Death Valet crossover art. Now, who or what is Death Valet? I am sad to say I
Death,
do not
that's,
know.
yeah, Death Valet is I it's like I met let's see, I think his name was Fox. I met Fox through my friend Robert who does Tom Minority. So I met him for that, and then I it's Death Valley itself is like basically about this alligator anthropomorphic crocodile guy, whatever, and he has a death valet, which is like one of the other main characters, and like their main thing is to just mainly go for mysteries, try to stop heinous plots going around in this a really wacky, insane world that's happening around them, that they live in.
Gotcha. Well, what inspired this crossover with Demon Hunter? Was somebody asking? I'm assuming it's something kind of similar in this case.
Yeah, because Fox was like, I think honestly, like Fox was literally begging me to like get something done, and also like, he's multiple times have asked me to help his friends out, so it's starting to grow on how many people are starting to trust me, and I understand, you know, um, and but yeah, like it's like, yeah, I could totally try to get on this thing invested if I can, like, and as soon as I get the money, I'm gonna go pay Ivan, and then like we'll get this thing going.
Oh yes, Ivan. I think that's the other Dimensional Warriors piece I have in here,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Ivan. Oh god, yeah, like Ivan, like you were like going nuts when I made that. I paid for that Ivan piece with
Oh,
Clay and
it's
Jack.
that
You,
one. Let me see. Okay, it's
yeah,
not because there's two
the
here.
other ones, yeah, the other
There's
ones were
this
like,
piece. That's not Ivan. Is that Ivan?
yeah. Let's see. I gotta see for the stream. Hold
Yeah, if you
on.
can.
Yeah,
If not, I will find the other
yeah.
piece
No,
though.
that one's with Jacob. He's gonna be
Okay.
like, yeah. Jacob is guy I'm working with for my second comic book series.
Ooh, got any info on
Yeah.
that while I'm looking for the other piece we're
Yeah.
actually
I
talking about?
got. Yeah. The title of it is Sins. It's a mystery horror comic about the seven deadly sins, who are the sons and daughters of Lucifer, the devil, and a human woman, and they live in supernatural New York City. That's coexisted for centuries amongst like humans and supernatural beings working together since 500 AD, and now like they just do mysteries, and then just living in this world filled with magic, deadly creatures, all this other stuff. So basically, like you could even say it's urban fantasy too. That one's
Ooh.
Yeah, that one's kind of in there too.
Well, excellent. I'm excited for you, man, and I really hope to continue to see more. Right now, of course, people's focus is always going to be on what's got the most content out there. So, of course, I'm
Yeah.
excited for Clay. But and I also very much know the difficulties of trying to push multiple series early,
Yeah.
a little bit, and
Especially when you got like a low budget.
exactly. I was lucky. The only reason we were able to get Cactus Coyote off the ground is because the guy was so dedicated, and that's doing well over in the Tezuka manga contest. If folks are interested, Cactus Coyote Media Bang, and you'll find a free read, 42 pages. The best manga in the Weird Space West. That's a fun one. Another anthropomorphic critter, but with some caveats that are wonderful. He actually just finished. God, he is a heck of a writer, and he's already finished. I would say about 100 issues worth of Cactus Coyote. That's just kind of sitting there. So we're ready to hit the full gear. Well, aha, found it. Anyway, we're ready to hit the full gear when folks are ready to read it. But we'll see. I mean, if Shonen actually gets interested in it, we're gonna be hitting the ground running on that pretty hard. But let's go over here. This is the piece you were talking about by at oh God, how do you by Ivan Fiorelli and
Yeah, Fiorelli.
Fiorelli
Yeah,
Ivan.
yeah.
At Fiorelli Ivan. God, I am
Oh.
bad with
Yeah,
pronunciations, but
just call him
this was such
Ivan.
Yeah,
by
with
Ivan.
Ivan. Exactly. But anyway, here it is spelled out, folks. If you want to follow him on Twitter. But yeah, I was all over this piece. It was so cool. So he uses kind of a lighter detail in the back, but with the coloring and the lighting and the mood and the very dramatic angle, it's a such a cool piece. I was definitely a big fan. Big, heavy, angry smoke coming off of the cigar. Um, he really nailed the mood, and I love seeing different artists' take on Jack because most everybody has gotten it in one way or another. And yeah, that was badass. I was very stoked to see that. So give the guy a
Well, yeah,
follow and make sure and you know keep supporting Clay's work. He's doing a lot of good
yeah.
things for the indie community.
Yeah, and don't forget that like this kind of quality, hopefully you'll definitely expect this in issue number one, because like Ivan
Yes.
Fiorelli is going to be the main artist for Clayman. Well, yeah, the artist and the colorist for Clayman.
Excellent. I like hearing that. I love his shading. He uses cross hatching a little bit too to add a little bit more. It's a great style. And if
It's
that,
got that
and
kind. Yeah, it's kind of. Oh, sorry, you go.
I was just going to ask about this is Futurotica, yeah, or future
Yeah,
God.
Futorica. Yeah,
Photorica. There we go. I was going to
yeah,
say
there we go.
erotica. Photorica.
Yeah, it's
So
all good.
I love the design of the city too. And if that's the lighting and tone and the shapes, the geometry of the city we're going to
Yeah,
get, very Batman Beyond, which is excellent. And yeah, excited. Very excited.
yeah. It was. It's like it's crazy because I was like I said, I was. I think like this. I was lucky to find Ivan. Ivan was lucky to find me, considering his Twitter was like barely hitting like 200, 300 followers, and then like when I introduced everybody to him, it shot up to like almost like 1,500 followers because I was literally kept promoting him so much, and then he was like, "Man, like you're incredible," and I'm like, "Well, you got such good freaking art."
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. I noticed, and there's very few things that keep me on Twitter, but they're very important things.
It's art. It's art.
Yep, yep, and that's the big one. And I love and am always surprised, genuinely surprised at how many incredible artists are in there posting nearly every day wonderful pieces that have 50 followers, 10 followers,
Yeah,
and every time they come across my timeline, I do my damnedest to promote that level because it feels good. It feels good when maybe you could see a little bit of movement for them, and you can see them interacting with good folks and all of that. I love being able to do that, and I love hearing other people doing it. It's very necessary for us all to build a a connection strong enough to bear time and to actually take a swing at the big boys. And I think it's 100% possible, and it's just going to take time.
yeah,
Let's see. Itchy said his pro wrestling gators are in process of a crossover for Trial by Fire. I'm
nice.
assuming you know more about what he's talking about than I do.
Yeah, because like I believe he's talking about a crossover with my friend Stefan, who's his character and their characters are gonna have a crossover, which is like if you like Power Rangers and Senshin kind of vibe, that's like what the character will bring when he crossovers with the Gators.
Okay, okay. Well, there you go, folks.
Yeah,
Just keep an eye out. I'm sure Clay will be promoting that if that sounds like something you folks would enjoy. Um, Make sure you follow and like, you know, eh, what we're doing here. It makes the biggest difference. Let's see. I think we've hit the major notes. So let's turn the page. Do you have any questions for me, Clay?
Um. Okay, it's like I'll say like when did you actually like begin your journey? Where it was like, yeah, I want to make an indie comic now, basically.
Oh God. I read. So my buddy, people might know his music from this channel and of course his own Laguna Munta. Please like,
Ah,
follow,
yeah,
share
yeah,
his independent music. But he's closest thing I've got to a brother. Known him since preschool. Um, he was more of a comic guy, so he kind of introduced me to some characters. And what hooked me was the Punisher's design, so that kept my eyes on comics. It took a while though before I really got into it, and there was a school project. These are all things I remember. I don't remember too much about high school. But what I do remember is there was a project where we just kind of had to make a PowerPoint out of anything. And so I was looking around and trying to find something that would engage me, and I found the character of Ghost Rider. I grew up in a biker family. I grew up in that environment, and I loved seeing such a badass character design I hadn't seen in cartoons, hadn't seen in movies at that point. Just like that kind of character exists. It's the same thing that attracted me to 40K. It's just this dark, gritty characters exist. It was me going from the kid like, oh, everybody looks like Batman, Spider-Man, the X-Men, bright colors and clean suits. What Clayman? But what? There's something different. There's biker chains. There's a flaming skull. There's a guy who wears all black and murders people. That got me into the idea of comics, and me having a hard time in high school got me working towards trying to figure out something. And so my mind dug into what kind of thing would I like to create. And at the end of the day, it ended up being a comic because it was the most feasible. I couldn't jump straight into game development, and that's not how I wanted to tell my story anyway. I could script for say a screenplay or something, but I couldn't give the idea justice in that medium for the funding I'd have, which was nothing. And so I just kind of went with, well, let me just write. I don't know how to script a comic. I don't know anything, but let's get these ideas down on the page. And that's what I did when I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16. I wrote the first 8 issues of Jack Irons, which have been changed pretty good, except for the first issue is pretty close to what I originally wrote. But then everything after has been tweaked and adjusted as I've learned. But that was really what did it was a school project where I was doing a Ghost Rider presentation, and it really got me it dove me into character design and the wide range of looks and just cool stuff in comics, where basically the sky is the limit on imagination, where you can get any idea down for a percent of what a movie or a game would take. And that's what kind of did it. And the fact that the further I've gone, the more I've learned is that there's not really a scripting, set. I'm sure certain editors might expect it a certain way if you're working for a bigger company. But if you're doing creator-owned stuff, whatever communicates to the artist your idea, as long as that's fine with you and the result is fine, then you got the comic made. And that keeps me here also, is that there's so much freedom in the medium. Um, but yeah, it was edge lord character designs is what did it. Without going so far into that, there's some other edge lord characters that did not interest me, but it was particular Punisher and Ghost Rider. And then I got into Jonah Hex, and then I found Hex, the series where he's a post-apocalyptic cowboy, and that really is just like, oh, okay, that's what I want to do because they didn't do it how I would do it. And so yeah, that's what I've been doing with that and how I kind of did it. The meeting Maxie was many years later. Due to a tragedy in the family, I had a little bit, a very actually a tiny little bit of money to try something, and I needed a distraction, something to change my pace and to want to keep moving forward. And so I did that. And that's how Jack manifested is just follow through, timing, and the desire to get something done since I was since I was becoming a young man. Uh, I hope that answers. I tend to ramble.
Yeah, yeah,
But
um,
yeah, if folks have any questions, I'd love to continue, or we can, of course, cut this at a clean hour, which we've been about. I'm happy either
yeah,
way. If we do get questions, I would love to have us answer them. Let me check.
yeah. Anyone?
Primarily the Pro Wrestling Gators. I'm interested. Sentai with or Senshin with Pro Wrestling Gators. I'm very curious. Very curious. I'll give you that. I would like to thank everybody who has shown up today. bigger crowd than I usually get. But the creator interviews, I've noticed, the last one I did, God, 8, 10, a year ago, was Tom and Artie, which we were talking about. Another wonderful, closer to all ages
Yeah.
comic I recommend you folks check out, especially if you're in the anthropomorphic fan base. A lot of fun. That was the first comic first IP outside IronVerse Comics that I wrote for. I'm still curious if he's going to manifest that script or not. But I had a lot of fun writing something I'd never write. And it's a wonderful, fun, pretty silly comic. Definitely, if you like Clay, you'll probably like Tom and Artie, and vice versa, I would say. But who knows? I would love to hear your opinions on it. If you guys check it out later, comment below on this video. Let me know. But yeah, I think we are going to close it out. Is there any
Okay.
other information that you'd like folks to have or to get out there? Anything you'd like to say? This is
Um,
free platform.
yeah, yeah. It's like obviously I'm working on multiple other projects. I am still trying to keep Clayman as my singular most important comic. It's like a reason I haven't been streaming as much just because I've been working on an anthology script for Sins. Like it's been kind of a challenge, but it's really fun to like get out of my comfort zone to figure out how to do a mystery horror supernatural comic.
Oh, well, see,
Um
there's a whole nother project. Tell me about that before we close out, because I believe you're
yeah.
working on it, at least on the concept stage with Nashitobi. Am I right?
Well, Nash, like I only got a commission from him, like a $25 head sketch of my
That
one of my
was it.
main
Okay.
characters, Pride. Yeah, so he did give me some criticism. He says like maybe you shouldn't make it like a story because like we're just gonna make him like a short bunch of short stories, but then just make him like a bunch of short comics, which I was going to do, but I just wanted to see how I do it, like almost like a book format. But yeah, my book format writing skills suck. So I'm just gonna,
Prose is
you know,
is a hell of a thing. I barely want to
uh,
reach beyond short stories.
yeah, and
Barely.
yeah, and I'm just gonna like yeah, just reformat them into like maybe like 10 to 12 page comics like per character. So that'll be like 10 to 12 page comics basically altogether.
With a horror mystery vibe, huh? That could be
Yeah,
fun. That could be fun. I'm very
yeah.
interested.
I think like yeah, like Jacob, my artist for that, that did like one of the I think it was the second dimensional warriors piece
Mm.
is yeah, I was like I love his style. I wanted to go with that. He did yeah, because like I saw his comic The Good Boy and I'm like that's the kind of guy I want to do for Sins. And aside from him making Pride look like Ozzy Osbourne, I got nothing else. I got yeah. And it's like yeah, I was like his style is like perfect for it. But I already got the one shot script out, like as in I finished it. It's all edited. Jacob loved it. And like I said, I'm just working on the scripts for that. But anything else regarding it, I might try something because it is the Halloween month, but
Mm-hmm.
depends on my budget, of course, and also like, well, I'm getting the Patreon money on the 5th, but yeah, if you guys do want to put your money in before the Patreon the 5th, that would be very much appreciated. Otherwise, like I have to wait till next month to get it. But and my birthday's on the 7th. I'm gonna be 24.
Oh, there you
So I'm getting
go.
some money. Yeah, I'm getting some money there. And I think that's it. Oh, and I get some let's see, again some money tomorrow too, because someone wanted PayPal me. Am I holding out Clay for the anthology? No, that's on my free time. It's like I took a break from streaming, yeah, but I'm not holding out Clayman. No. I just like I'm almost done with page 12 is almost done. I literally just paid Micah today to letter it. So like and we're discussing the bonus page, so it's all good on that end.
See,
I don't
that's the
I don't
part
hold
too. I
yeah,
get
I'm
you
sorry, yeah, you go, you
100%.
go.
But this part, that's the part a lot of creators I don't think, at least diving in don't realize is the business management part, whether it's artistic relations or it's managing the finances, or in my case also dealing with the publisher legalities and dealing with printers, dealing with other creators. I mean, it's a heck of an endeavor to dive into comics, and still it demands money from you, and then you might get something in return. So I have such a respect for anyone diving into this medium, because it's a beautiful medium. You can create so many wonders with it, but it is hard. It is a tough one,
and
especially if you want
expensive.
to go creator owned, or if you're going for mainstream, good luck. If they'll even
Yeah, because
look at you, you're lucky.
yeah, my God,
So,
like yeah,
yeah.
I spent like thousands of dollars on like comic book stuff, and like um I don't know if I keep telling people this, but Ivan is well, he does professional prices. He
Yep.
worked at Marvel Power Rangers, so he does professional type. Yeah, yeah. It's not going to be if like a bonus page is just something for the patrons, like kind of a meme thing Clay does, but it's still going to be a good page. I guarantee it.
Right on. Well, cool. Well, I think this has been a good chat. I'm excited for you
Mm.
and for your future work and to be able to see it. I I love comics so much,
Mm.
so many aspects of it that keep me working, keep me going, and I hope little things like this help others. A little stream here and there, a little sharing of the work and sharing the mutual passion for the medium, and I just want to thank everybody again for showing. Thank you so much
Mm.
for giving us your time, a little bit of energy. Much appreciated. It's how we keep going. And Robert, Clay, thank you so
Mm.
much in so many ways for reaching out when I did that. I've been meaning to talk with you for a very long time, and for
Yeah.
being so flexible and getting this done today. I mean, I've had a lot of different experiences with streaming. I can tell
Yeah.
you that, and this was quite pleasant. So always feel free to hit me up if you have something going, something new. Let me know, and as long as I can keep this going and people have any interest, I will keep at it, because it needs to be done. It does. So many people are doing it. Doesn't matter. Still needs to be done, and happy to provide the platform. We're going to do a couple updates on IronVerse Comics just for the heck of it at the end, right here. So we have a $50 prize for our Halloween art contest, like we did last year. It's going to be $50, and it's going to be the complete package from our Indiegogo. So you're getting about $80 worth of value if you win, and you'll end up in the back of issue 3. Um, the idea is Jack and a horror icon. Last year's pieces were Jack and a Xenomorph by Bruce Patnott, who won, and Jack and Freddy in a nightmare
Mm.
where Freddy's trying to get on Jack's nerve and he just can't, by Xenolith Comics, who works with the Mythoverse crew. And
Yeah.
we got another piece by your friendly neighborhood ninja, which was a bunch of horror icons and Jack, which was pretty cool. It was real nice of him. But anywho, if you folks are interested, I'd love to get a little bit more heat there. Um, an immortal man faces something usually also immortal. It's rocking a hard place. I love seeing artists' concepts on that. I'd love to reward you folks for giving it a shot. You have till October 30th. Hit me up on Twitter at cowboy_steel with it. Hit me up here if you need to. IronVerseComics at gmail.com. Email it. However you want to get it to me. I'd love to see it. Jack Irons, issue number 3. Oh, well, 1 through 3. 2 variant covers for 1 and for 2. Or a variant cover for each due to publisher stuff. But check it out as well if you folks haven't already. I'd very much appreciate it. We're closing for printing. Probably at the end of this month, we should have lettering completely done, and I hope I can just pass it straight to the printers in November. Printers are always kind of wonky so far. I rarely
Yeah.
find one who, unless you're a big money maker, will go out of their way to adhere to your schedule. It's usually the other way around. So we'll see what happens there. I'll be updating folks. But I'm really excited. It's a beautiful book we've put together. I'm hoping it reads as good as it looks. Hopefully it's a improvement over issues 2 and all of its talking, and a little more action, a little bit more depth and growth, and the start of the journey we're trying to do, the end of the introductory arc. I'm very excited to get that into folks' hands. And check out IronVerseComics.com for all the other good stuff that we do and to help support us. And with that, one more thanks to everybody who showed today. Thank you so much. Again, we don't get too many viewers on this channel, so it makes a big difference for me and my boost. And I appreciate you guys coming, showing your support for Clay, and listening to me jabber on with him. And Clay, thank you so much for showing up once again. And I hope again we'll talk again relatively soon. Just let me know, and I'll let you know if I need a guest if that works. And we'll go from there. Anywho, so I'm going to go ahead, folks. You will see this, where it says the standby. Then I'm going to run the intro, and after the intro runs, we'll be seeing you on that old rusty IronVerse Comics trail. So again, love y'all. Take care, and thank you for spending your time with us. It's priceless, and we definitely respect and adore the sharing of it. Take care, folks.